Thankfully, the Jungle Viper comes with a stand. It's got Jungle Viper on it and then 2 pegs as well as a raised Cobra emblem. The stand is really great because, as you can see with him wearing the suit and holding his gun, he does need something to help him stand up. Here we have his gun poking through one of the slits in his ghillie suit. And then this is the forearm guard that's on his left hand side. Now, I do want to bring attention to the red dots all over his suit. I recently joined G.I. Joe Collectors Club, and it was shared elsewhere as that they had done an interview with John Warden. And John Warden is the guy that designed this figure as well as the Shock Trooper. And he was saying that the red dots are actually optical cameras that help him see all the way around him. Now, the other way I would like to look at it is the same way that they used the uniform in the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, where basically the cameras film what is around you and then broadcast it on the suit, so that way you go invisible. And another thing he was sharing is something that makes me want to bring in this figure right here. Now, if you know G.I. Joe, you may realize that this is not an exact 1989 Night Viper, but this is one of the figures that we thought of when we first saw pictures of the Jungle Viper, because even though he was saying they're not supposed to be the same, you can see some similarities, you know, the fact that they're green and they're black, and then even though he has updated night goggles or scopes here, and this guy only has one, and in the real figure I'm thinking it would have been black, but this is actually a Fun School reproduction of the 1989 Night Viper. But it's the closest thing I have in my collection. I don't think I ever had one. The only real connection I have to it is I know some people don't like the Deke episodes, but I'm a big fan of Dragonfire, Operation Dragonfire. And that's pretty much where the Night Viper shows up for my first, thought of it. Now, he may have been in the comics, and he's actually not a Night Viper for the rest of the operations. It's actually somebody who goes in disguise, and we'll probably bring this guy back later in another video. But they look so cool, and without the ghillie suit, I think he still looks very good and could maybe be a Night Viper. Now, he does have the ball joints there, but I don't think those really stick out too much, because he was sharing with us also that there's these bars on the Jungle Viper's arms, and people are wondering what those are. And those are extracting points. So he would have something hooked to him that would pull him away, or if he was injured, a soldier would be able to really well grab onto that and pull him to safety. As large as the gun is, it does have an extension to it that goes to the front. It has this part right here that could be for real life, stabilizing it against a wall or on a limb or the ground. But I think it also works, as long as you don't push it too far in, and maybe he just carries the scope or extension when he's not using the gun, because as you can see it's rather large there. But if you separate it, then he could have that on his back, and then this part he could carry. Now, he does come with this kind of base for the gun. It's detailed where it looks more like it's used in more than one way, like you would want to use it this way and then this way, because it does have what looks like a bipod to me right there. So I think the real idea is that you would have the gun attached to the hole right here, and then you'd have the extension on, and then this part right here would be the bipod, and the bipod would go up here. So I think that's just an added detail that they added to it. But thankfully, he doesn't have to just rely on that large gun. They were able to give him two guns, and this one is still being held together with the elastic tie, kind of rebel tie, but you can take it out of his hand, and he has a holster right here for this gun. And then he also has, it looks like to be the same type of gun in his leg holster right here. So that's really nice. I mean, if he can't use that large gun, then you can have him with two of his smaller pistols. The Jungle Viper is one of the figures that they've added the new articulation to. They really haven't said that this will be on every figure, but it will be on the figures that it makes sense for. And with him being a marksman and a sniper, I think they were trying to allow G.I. Joe collectors that want their figures to be able to hold their guns in more realistic style to be able to do that with this guy. And so he has a new articulation on his arms, and they're a little bit different on both sides. With this one, normally the figure would only twist at the wrist, but not only does he have a wrist, but he also has one that lets him go back this way and then back this way. And then the one on the other hand also still has the wrist articulation, so I'll show you that. But this time, instead of going back and forth, it goes up and down. So that's the down, and then a little bit up, but mostly down. So I think that's added there so that he can hold his weapon a lot better. So again, I think most people want him to be able to go a little bit more up to the eyes possibly, or even some people have said that the articulation should go up more because he is a marksman. The whole idea is that he would be normally on the ground using this gun, as you'll see, but he does hold the weapon pretty well. I don't know that I have it exactly, in the pose that it should be in, but it kind of gives you an idea of how he's supposed to hold the gun, because as you can see with how his hands are sculpted, this one has more of a trigger finger to it, and this one has more of the cupping hand to them, and we'll actually show you that they are differently molded. So trigger finger there, and no trigger finger really on this one. That's more of the open-handed, holding the bottom of the gun. So even though this gun has been called the Scholar-JS High-Powered Jungle Series Marksman Rifle, a lot of people that do know their guns, I myself don't, so I'm glad other people were able to figure this out. This looks like it could be very well based on the 20mm anti-tank gun that finished Lati L-39 that was used in World War II. It was used up until tanks started getting stronger armor as an anti-tank gun, and then it was used also for marksmen, but I'm thinking it would be one of those things that they would only use if they were really, really far away from a human being, because I just can't see why they would use this on humans. I mean, I realize it's war, but you can see I'm just speechless. Once you see how big this gun is and how big the bullets are, it just war. Anyway, so it was mentioned that that's what this gun looks a lot like. So I'll make sure to put a link right here, and you can go to a video that I don't have any connection to, but someone has done a great job of editing the information, as well as a lot of different photographs that will allow you to see the gun and then make up your own mind whether or not you think that this could actually be a finished Lati L-39. Another thing I was noticing is that even though this is supposed to be a Jungle Viper and this is supposed to be a Night Viper, if you look on the Night Viper, he has a gun that can come off of the figure because there's some pegs and then some holes. And I was thinking, he made me think of the Jungle Viper, because we were talking about earlier how he can put the gun on his back, but he's actually got these armor, kind of side armor to him. And I was just thinking, if you take the gun and you're able to take it in pieces, then you could actually have it where you could have maybe part of the gun on this side, and then you could take the scope and have it on that side. So maybe not very realistic, but I know that some people like their figures to be able to hold their weapons. So yeah, just any way of doing that I think would have been nice. Now another thing I did want to bring up is that they both have scopes that go up, but the Night Viper has regular eyes, and as we see with the Jungle Viper, he has white eyes. Now we'll bring him in for a closer look. Looking at the Jungle Viper's eyes, you can see they're mostly white. There's a little bit of black, but the black I think is supposed to be his eyelashes. Now it's been shared by the designer that he made them white because this is a side effect of using his optics too much. I myself like to see it as an operation or genetic testing or something that Cobra has done, because they've always been doing that for as long as I've been with G.I. Joe. I also could see it as maybe a side effect or a connection of nanomites as well as some type of surgery type thing that Cobra did. Now, I have not seen these movies in a long time, but another connection people have made is that it's like Riddick from 2000's Pitch Black movie or 2004 The Chronicles of Riddick. He had, if I'm not mistaken, an operation called eye shine. Now, eye shine is kind of like if you ever look at a cat or a dog or any of those animals. I think the only animals that don't have, or I should say mammals, that don't have eye shine are humans and pigs from what I read. So it's kind of like what happens when you flash a light or you see an animal at night. That's eye shine. It allows them to see a little bit better. Now, if you've had LASIK, I myself have, and another person I know has, so it's kind of a form of LASIK surgery, a little bit maybe extreme, but as long as the website's correct and the information is correct, it looks like there was actually a hospital in London called London Moorfields Eye Hospital where there was actually a doctor that was doing this operation. He was only doing it on soldiers that had to fly on aircraft carriers or land on them, and they needed better eyesight, because I myself am not a soldier, but you've always heard the soldiers want it to be their choice that they're no longer a soldier. I mean, I'm sure they'd love it if there was peace, but at the same time, by that I mean they want to continue to fight and continue to do what they feel like they were put on the planet for. So if this eye surgery is something that's going to allow them to keep being a soldier, then I could see them doing it. As far as I know, we don't do it in the United States. I don't know if it's just because we're a little bit more strict or what, but you know, it is an extreme operation. Even with basic LASIK, you can still possibly lose your eyesight. You know, that's always one of those things they tell you. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is that on him, he has a little scope kind of thing right there. And that was shared that that's actually a boom mic, and that's how he's able to hear everything that those cameras are picking up. I hope you've enjoyed my take on the Jungle Viper. I appreciate you coming by and viewing and spending a little bit of time with me. Thank you very much for rating, commenting, and subscribing, because I started doing this video stuff to have fun and also to share what information I have and what information others have. And it's really great to be able to show that there's more to just being a G.I. Joe collector than just somebody that likes toys. So thank you very much for all your support, and we will see you next time.